Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Casey and here on my channel we talk about personal growth, lifestyle, and personal finance. Today we're going to be talking about what I spend in a month as a 24-year-old living in Baltimore, Maryland. So if you're interested in that, just keep watching. So specifically we're going to be talking about the month of March, so March 2021, so the month that just ended. And this month is a little bit special for me just because I had a lot of things going on in March, so I thought it would be like an interesting month to do what I spend in a month. But we have my trusty budget planner here that I'm going to be referencing all my information from. So let's get started. So a little bit about my income. I'm not going to be sharing like the specific number that I make every month, but I will share like what goes into my income. So I do have a 9-to-5 job. So that's where, my main source of income is that job. And then specifically in March, I actually got my tax return and I also got all 3 of my stimulus payments. So 2 of them came out in my tax return and then the other one came out like literally a week later, the $1,400 one. So I got all 3 of my stimulus payments, my tax returns, my paycheck. I also got a promotion this month, so I got my second paycheck was a little bit more. And I also do some like side hustle stuff that bring in like an extra $50 a month. So that's like an overall synopsis of my income and all of my income sources for the month of March. So moving into my spending, I have 10 different budget categories that I'm going to be talking about. And those include home, food, healthcare, credit and loans, savings, investments, personal, entertainment, transportation, and other. So to start off, let's start with the home category. So if you don't know, I actually live at home with my parents, so I currently do not have any expenses within the home category, so that's 0 for this month. So moving into the food category, that includes things like groceries and dining out. And for the month of March, I spent $86.70. So a little bit of like backstory on that. Because I do live at home, my parents like buy groceries for the entire house. So a lot of times my grocery bill is pretty low. It's just like the special things that I want, or if I, go to Trader Joe's or go to Wegmans at any point, like I'll pay for that. But in general, my mom does do like a weekly grocery store pickup. So a lot of my groceries do come out of that trip. And then I, pay for, small things here and there. And if I get specialty things for myself. So that's why my grocery bill and like my food category in general is pretty low. But that'll change obviously as time goes on. So the third category is healthcare. And for me, healthcare includes therapy, co-pays for any like doctor's visits I have. And then also I have Invisalign. So those are the 3 things that make up my healthcare section. And for the month of March, I spent $1,837 in that category. So the reason that that category is pretty high is because I actually paid off the rest of my Invisalign balance, which was specifically $1,747. So like the majority of that was just paying off my Invisalign. So that was super exciting. I'm actually waiting for my refinements, which is like my second round of Invisalign for like small tweaks. So it's nice to be going into that already having paid off Invisalign in total. So that's why that section was a little high for the month of March. Next, we have credit and loans. And within this category for me is tuition. So I'm going to school part-time. So I do have tuition and I'm paying for school outright. And that's my goal to like do the whole thing outright. So for the month of March, my credit and loans category came to $285.25. So the reason why that's kind of low is because I do have a full-time job. So obviously I can't take a super large class load. So I only take 2 classes a semester. So yeah, that's what's in credit and loans for March. So next we have the savings category, which is my personal favorite category. And actually in the month of March, I was able to make really big progress and I'm really happy. So for March, I saved $2,118.46. So that actually is, my largest budget category for the month. So I like to have savings be the largest category for me like all the time, but obviously that's way more than normal. And within savings, I'm talking specifically about my emergency fund and then all my sinking funds. So I'm working towards, if you saw my financial goals video, you will know that I'm working towards having $7,500 in my emergency fund by the end of the year. And actually with March, I was able to get to like break the 7,000 mark. So I will like for sure be making that goal within this year. But I'm just super proud of myself and like super happy and thankful that I was able to make such progress in 1 month. So normally saving $2,000 would take a couple months for me to do. So like 3 or 4 months of me saving like a significant amount of money each month. So to be able to like knock that out in 1 month, I'm super grateful and super happy with that. So for the next category, which is investments, I am working towards maxing out my Roth IRA. So every single month I send like a flat $500 to that. And that's how much I spent in that category this month. So $500 for investments. So the next category is personal. So the things that fall into personal for me are things like my tithes, my phone bill, the gym bill. And then also this month I included the charge for doing my taxes with H&R Block. So I usually use like the online H&R Block, but because of 2020 being like all over the place, and I also hadn't received any of my stimulus money before filing for my taxes, so I really wanted to make sure that, you know, those were included in my tax return. So I actually paid the extra money to work with a tax expert at H&R Block. So that was another expense that I had this month. So in total for March, within the personal category, I spent $535.08. Next, we have entertainment, and entertainment is pretty much like all the fun things. So specifically within entertainment, I have things like shopping, miscellaneous, entertainment in general. And then specifically for the month of March, I actually upgraded my phone and I paid for it outright. So, you know, a new phone was in that. So a good $1,200 was spent on my new iPhone 12 Pro Max, which I've done a couple videos about in the past. So that was included in entertainment, and I prefer to pay for things outright if I can. So with, you know, having my stimulus checks and my tax returns, I planned to pay for my phone outright, and I'm happy that I was able to do that. So in total for March, for the entertainment category, I spent $1,642.59. So next we have the transportation category, and within that, that includes gas money and my car payment. So in total for the transportation category, I spent $427 for March. And then lastly, we have the other category. So within other for me includes like business expenses or just things that don't fit in any other category pretty much. So things like specifically things like Canva, Tailwind, which is something that I use for my blog. It's a Pinterest scheduler. So stuff like that, that like is technically for like my businesses, but because I don't have like business bank accounts yet, I just put them in the other category within my budget. So for the month of March, I spent $119.66 in the other category. So those are all 10 of my categories. So I'm gonna do a quick run through of the percentages that all of those categories made up for the month. So specifically, the home section, we had 0%, food, we had 1%, healthcare, 24%, credit and loans, 4%, savings, 27%, investments, 6%, personal, 7%, entertainment, 21%, transportation, 6%, and other, 2%. So that doesn't completely add up to 100 because I like to keep a little bit of cushion in my accounts. So that extra money just like was left in my checking account to cover anything that would come up randomly. So that's why that doesn't equal 100. But yeah, that's all that I spent in the month of March. So in total, March was a pretty eventful month. I was able to pay off one of my debts, almost reach my goal of having $7,500 in my emergency fund. And I was also able to buy a phone outright, which was over $1,000. So those three things to me are like amazing. And I'm so happy that I was able to do that this month. So yeah, so that's what I spent in the month of March as a 24-year-old living in Baltimore, Maryland. Let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed this video or if you budget similar to the way that I do. Before you leave, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.